Hi YouTube! Today I'm going to be talking about Pluto trine Venus in synastry. So the synastry is when you put two charts together and it's kind of like the compatibility report. And when you have a Pluto aspect, this just shows a very strong, obsessive, kind of addictive love style. It can also be transformative. It can be like kind of back and forth. It's kind of like an uneasy love, like maybe there's a lot of breaking it up and making up and maybe a lot of fighting between the two. Now, Pluto, I'm going to refer to Pluto as he, and I'm going to refer to Venus as she, because Venus is feminine, Pluto is masculine, okay? But a female can have the Pluto placement in the synastry chart, and a man can have the Venus placement in a synastry chart. It just depends, but I'm just referring those pronouns to the gender of the planet. Now, okay, when there's a trine between these, like when Pluto is trining Venus, okay, so Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, transformation. It's kind of more of a malefic planet. And then Venus is this planet of beauty, grace, elegance, superficiality, kind of to a certain extent, And it's kind of, you're putting like the beauty and the beast together. This is what it is, So Pluto's the beast and Venus is the beauty, And so all of these things that Venus has to offer, which is her grace, her charm, her beauty, her innocent charm at times, her kind of like rose-colored glasses on to love as the Pluto person views them like that. This is a very, like, all of this, like, elegance and beauty in one person really activates, like, extremely powerful and intense emotions from the Pluto person. The Pluto person is very magnetic towards the Venus person. They're both extremely magnetic, but, like, what really, it's like, Pluto sees this really beautiful thing, but then he can also like cut down to the core and see the psychological truth of the partner, And this is what he likes. He likes to figure out. He likes to kind of like dig and all of that. But there is kind of an uneasy love here because the Pluto person has these intense feelings and all of that. But between them, it's like they have a hard time expressing how they truly feel about each other, because for the Pluto person, it's all or nothing, So, like, any signs of independence, any sign of, like, the Venus person moving on, whether it be just, like, a look to another person or just a hug to another person, the Pluto person will misinterpret that. There's a lot of miscommunication going on between these two people just because it's like, I love you so much, but I'm just like so afraid to say it, or kind of afraid to admit it or admit the truth, because I feel as if like, Venus is all harmonious over here, and then Pluto is just like possessive and jealous at times, So it's like a love-hate union. So at times it can just be very confusing to understand, you know. Pluto's intensity, like there's a certain magnetism that is that the Venus person's attracted to from this guy, like from the Pluto person, just because of how like it's kind of just drawn, when these two are in a room, there's probably a lot of eye contact between them that they're trying to look to each other, but at the same time they're trying to hide that they're trying to look at each other. It's kind of like that, like this is like the couple that like breaks up because they fight so much, but like can't ever seem to stay broken up. They have to get back together. This is like kind of that thing, and it's like good because like Pluto, um, kind of initiates change and growth in a relationship if it's healthy. This relationship can be healthy. It can be a relationship of transformation of all of that, but if it's not with good communication and if it's not with pure intentions, this can really take a toll. This can be like a really big love-hate union that can be a little bit consuming. This is a love that's very consuming. It's a little bit jealous. It's a little bit possessive. Mainly the jealous and possessive feelings are coming from the Pluto person, He doesn't really want to share his love partner, whoever Pluto is, And Venus doesn't want Pluto to find somebody else. But, like, Venus is the one that doesn't mind if the relationship ends because the Venus person, like, is the submissive. and then the Pluto is the dominant one, and Pluto always has to play the dominant role, and if the Pluto person feels as if the Venus person doesn't need them, then like it's like I'm your dominant, like it's kind of like that. And like the Venus person may look up to this person and be like, oh, I want to get married, I want to have a kid, I want to like have a family with you, but the Pluto person just sees them as their soulmate. Yeah, they could think of all that, but like the Pluto person thinks it's their soulmate. And Venus is going to get very fed up with all the arguments and all the inconsistency that Pluto is giving them, but they're going to get stuck in kind of that little cycle, but they want it to be a love that's consistent and all that, but Pluto can kind of destroy the way Venus feels. Pluto can destroy her love, like her love matter, how she goes about love, because he likes to kind of like build her up, because whatever Pluto says to the Venus person has a huge, huge impact. Huge impact. Like, this is why Venus loves Pluto, because they can make them feel, like, Pluto can make her feel so good, but at the same time, he has the capability to destroy her in like a matter of 2 minutes, So, like, the Pluto person hates rejection, and like, he has a compulsive attraction to the Venus person, It's almost like it never goes away. These people can't, like, be friends once they broke up. It's very hard for them, you know? So he can be a little bit jealous and possessive. He does not want to share her, but it's going to be hard because he doesn't necessarily express his feelings as he should, or how Venus would want him to, because remember, he's like he's the psychological, like, behind, so he's probably going to be pushing her away or something, because he kind of wants her to be reeled in back to him. If he sees that Venus is talking to another guy or another girl or something, he plays this thing where he'll like back away and like act as he doesn't care, just so the Venus person can come crawling back. That's how this works, he has like a restriction. Both of them can have a restriction, but it's most likely to be Pluto, but it can also be Venus. There's a restriction on showing their love and affection just because of how rocky the relationship can be, and like Pluto doesn't like it when Venus doesn't give him the attention, so he wants to keep searching for the truth on how like she feels, because the Pluto person feels as if there's some depth to the relationship, and he can degrade like the love nature of Venus, but if it's not, it's a very passionate relationship. It can be very, very strong, even if it's not good, like even if the relationship's not healthy. There's a lot of passion, there's a lot of like connection, there's maybe a lot of intimacy, but it can also be just very toxic at the same time. But if it's a good, healthy relationship with good communication, there's a lot of growth that can happen here, and there's a lot of potential to become something greater, to transform. That's what Pluto wants to do. But Venus wants the traditional love style about it, so it's like transforming in a good way. But for the most part, the Pluto is just a little bit really intense, and for him it's all or nothing. So it's just going to be a little bit rocky, but with like good communication and good intentions and no manipulation and all that, it could be good. I feel as if it could. So that was it for my Pluto trine Venus video, and I'll see you guys later.